Good morning. I'm Richard Barbee, co-owner of Warrant Realty. I'm just so happy to be a part of this morning. Warrant Realty is a full-service real estate firm, but we're so much more than regular real estate. Selfishly, I think I'm a people person, and I just use real estate as my product to be in touch with people. So that's kind of what I like. Mike?
Good morning, folks. I'm Mike Steverson. I'm the other half of Warrant Realty ownership, and we are just happy to be a part of this great group, and we always look forward to speaking with the Economic Development Department. So thanks again, and look forward to the event this morning.
Thank you all. And Gary, if you could introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Gary LeBlanc. I am the founder and president of Mercy Chefs, a Portsmouth-based humanitarian and disaster relief organization that works around the city, around the state, around the country, and all around the world. We're very unique. We only do food, and we stay in our lane, and we try to do that very, very well. It's a pleasure to be with y'all here today.
Absolutely, and thank you all three for that introduction. I want to come back to you, Gary, really quickly for the first question. You all have obviously had a lot of success, national success over the years. What do you think has made your team and your nonprofit successful, both recently and just over the years that you started it? And if you could go into a little detail about how you started Mercy Chefs, kind of that story, that's a great story.
Well, Mercy Chefs was founded in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. New Orleans was my hometown. It's where I came up in the hotel restaurant business, and I was living here in Virginia when Katrina slammed into the Gulf Coast. I lost a grandmother. My daughter lost the home. Every business I had ever worked at was on the TV, underwater or destroyed. The people I saw standing on bridges were people I recognized that I used to work with. And so I went back to New Orleans and I cooked with every other agency out there. You all know their names. And I got home and I got angry. I hated the food that I saw served. I thought there was a better way to serve people that had just lost everything. I believe in passion and quality ingredients. I believe in sanitation and food safety. And I didn't see any organization committed to that. And so that was the birth of Mercy Chefs 14 years ago. And we've grown very slowly over those 14 years ago. And about 3 years ago, things started exploding for us. I mean, 5 years ago, it was me and a part-time admin. We have 40 staff now around the country and around the world. 10 years to do our first million meals, 3 years to do our second million meals. And then this year, in the year of COVID, Mercy Chefs will do over 7 million meals in 2020 alone. So it's been exponential growth. For 14 years, it felt like we were stepping toward the edge of the cliff, and this year it was like we finally took that last step off, and it's just been gravity. So I think we're at terminal velocity right now, but opportunities continue to come our way, and we continue to be faithful to step through those open doors. We've always been a Portsmouth-based nonprofit. We founded here in Portsmouth. We've always operated out of Portsmouth, and we're thrilled with the acquisition of our headquarters in the community kitchen here on Washington Street, that when that opportunity came up, we were able to continue here in Portsmouth. That's the short story. They can stay up for the long one after the call.
I really appreciate that. That's why I wanted you to share that story just with the audience, because it's really a great story and something that needs to be told. Want to make sure everyone knows, if you guys have any questions, if the audience has any questions, please use the chat box, and I'll be checking those for any questions. I want to turn to you, Rich and Mike, now. You guys obviously had both you guys have had long military careers. Kind of how has that helped shape you guys and shape your business and Warrant Realty?
Well, it's shaped out of the name. Rich and I were a couple of retired warrant officers, U.S. Coast Guard. That's the name of the company. And the warrant officer in the military, particularly seagoing services, is the resident expert. We certainly not trying to toot horns or anything, but we're pretty good at what we do. I enjoy doing what we do. We just like Rich explained, we don't have to. After a 30 plus year career in the military, retiring at the highest rank we could attain at the time, and with a little bit of VA disability help coming in. Rich and I don't have to sell houses, so we do this because we enjoy working with folks. To echo off what Gary does, and you guys got an amazing story, but it's about the people. It's about service. It's about helping folks, and a large majority of our client base is military people. And this area, obviously, with the largest Navy base in the world here, and a pretty large Air Force base and Army base, every service member is represented here in Hampton Roads. When the summertime rolls around and a member gets a set of military orders, either out of the area or into the area, Rich and I know exactly what he's dealing with. And so when they say, I've got to have a house, I need a house where I'm going to be here in June, can you help me find a property? Yes, I can. Or if I got somebody that's telling me, Mike, I got the orders, I got to be on the other side of the country in September, I got to do something with this property, I got you. So we understand that. It's about service. Again, it's not about something we have to do. We could stay home and I would be 400 pounds easy, but we could stay home and do nothing and be just fine. So I'm sure Rich can elaborate on that as well.
So I can't say too much more than Mike said. The difference between the two of us, there isn't much difference. Mike's born and bred in Norfolk, and I come from Massachusetts. We both met in the military in Cuba, of all places. So since we met 30 years ago, we've been just like family. So I finished my career at 30. Mike finished at 31. He's a bit of an overachiever, which is why I picked him as my partner, because you got to have somebody who goes the extra mile. So we just love what we do.
Absolutely. You guys, Jessica and I were taking bets actually yesterday of if you guys were going to be together. So you guys are great partners and really have similar mindsets about things. Want to turn back to you, Gary, really quickly about, you mentioned the community kitchen and what you guys have done in that great project. What other programs and services do you guys offer at Mercy Chefs? I know things have kind of changed because of COVID-19, but could you go into kind of post-COVID-19 and kind of pre-COVID-19, the services and programs that you guys have?
Well, it's been great for us to be able to partner in the community during COVID. We've worked with the food bank and senior services and a great number of other community organizations providing chef-prepared meals that we blast chilled and froze so they could be delivered to folks that were shut in and quarantining, and still provide some nutritious and delicious meals. We did over 200,000 of those in the local community, along with continuing to support the 16 agencies that we support in the 7 city areas. But this year it was disaster after disaster for us. And then we got very involved in the Farm to Family food box initiative. And we were out ahead of that one a little bit, and then we've worked through it. And now as it is drying up in places, we just continue to buy groceries and supply as much product into homes as we can. No one's ever seen the need that we're faced with this year in terms of food insecurity and hunger and all the difficulties that come with serving in the midst of a international pandemic. We've had to really, we always had a great game when it came to sanitation and food safety, but we've had to up that this year even more.
Gary, could you talk a little bit about, obviously you guys have responded to the COVID-19 pandemic, but some of the other things you guys have responded to this year and the places you guys have been?
Oh my gosh, the year started off with earthquakes in Puerto Rico. And we had built 3 kitchens in Puerto Rico during Hurricane Maria. We had solid partners. We had trained culinary teams. So when the earthquakes happened on the other side of the island, we were able to pivot very quickly and get in with some immediate relief. And then we had the 2 tornadoes in Tennessee, Nashville, and Chattanooga. the derecho in Iowa City, or I'm sorry, in Cedar Rapids, that was truly an inland hurricane. And then we've answered the call to 6 hurricanes this year, and done long-term recovery in the midst of all of those. These were some brutal hurricanes that we faced this year. Some of them seemed like they almost overlapped. There was little time in between. And even now we have our second team down in Honduras working in the aftermath of those 2 incredible hurricanes there. I mean, it's been a year that we could never have anticipated or imagined, and we've been fortunate that we've been able to react. I mean, one of my chefs actually jokes and says the only thing we haven't seen this year is flaming snow. So we'll hope that one abates and doesn't come, but we've seen everything this year. Wildfires in California. We're getting ready to stand up another fast action team to be able to handle this new and emerging fire danger in California, and just placed our first mobile kitchen on the West Coast as a permanently based immediate responder. So yeah, and then COVID on top of everything. What a year.
Absolutely.
That's crazy.
Absolutely. Mike and Rich, I want to go back to you. Similar question on, I know you guys have, the military programs and help people transition from the military and buying homes. You guys could talk a little bit about that, and if that has been impacted in any way by COVID, or how that program has been moving forward.
Well, the transfer season for the military, it's been halted when COVID first started in March. They halted all military transfers because they didn't want the people moving just due to the virus. You contain it by staying in place. So we weren't getting the calls, or we had people wanting to put their houses on the market and they were in holding patterns. So all we did as a company was basically address whatever need our client had. So a large majority of them, if they decided that they didn't want to move, or if they had tenants, we just maintained status quo until their need came to the point where whichever military service they were in pulled the trigger on moving them. We've had people come from Japan, from Guam, cross country, from North Carolina to Virginia, and we just have to wait on what the military does with their transfer orders. And it was really as simple as that. Coronavirus changed everything, but our job is to service the veteran. It's not to help Warrant Realty. It's actually to help the veteran and their family. There's nothing worse than a PCS transfer. You got your family, you got your children worried about getting in the school system, you got your spouse trying to find a quality job in your next duty station. So the last thing you want to worry about is housing. That's where me and Mike try to fill that need, to take that biggest concern off your plate.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Obviously, because of how we had to interact, the limitations of interaction with people, we had to adjust that as well. So all our agents are aware of when you're out there and amongst the folks, the mask, obviously, and we have a responsibility. A lot of people think it's some type of it's an inconvenience, but I don't see it that way at all. It is a responsibility. It's part of what we do, and we have a responsibility to the community and our clients, as well as our office. I can be out on the street, contracting something and bring it back to my office. Can't do it. So it's about masks and gloves and being safe and being smart about the thing. So, but other than that, it's business as usual, and we have been pretty blessed to be able to maintain throughout this crazy year.
Thank you guys for that. Could you guys also, coming back to you, talk a little bit about that veterans program that you guys have? I think you guys partner with the state, and the money back that you guys do, and what that program means to the community and how that impacts the community.
Well, the Granting Freedom Program, as it's called, is the program run by the Virginia Housing that gives up to a $6,000 grant to disabled veterans to do home improvements. Some of those veterans are in dire need. We did a grant recently for a Vietnam era veteran who was suffering from Agent Orange, and his bones was so brittle that if he moved half of the time, he'd suffer a stress fracture or a break. His wife had to move him to the lower level of their house, and they had no washroom facilities. They had no true bedroom. He was actually sleeping on a hospital bed in a family room. Well, part of that program allowed them to totally remodel the lower level of that house, install a bathroom, a shower that he could roll into. And it was amazing, the transformation and the quality of life it created for this veteran who served in one of the most difficult, adverse wars the United States ever faced. So for me, that pulls at my heartstrings every day when we help those type of veterans, because you see direct impact on this guy served, and now we're filling his need. And I thank these veterans for their service every time I run into them. It's something worth doing.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's great. One, and this is for both of you guys. I'll start with you, Gary, and then go to you, Rich and Mike. This is a question for all three of you all. Why is and what is so important about giving and corporate responsibility? Why is that so vital to what you guys both do and you guys as corporate citizens?
Well, there's so many great quotes on that. I think it was Winston Churchill said, you make a living by what you get, you make a life by what you give. And I get asked all the time, why do you do this? Why do you spend so much time away from home? Why do you sleep on the floor of a church? Why do you work 14-hour days? Why do you do it? And I know all the reasons why I do it. You know, the incredible satisfaction, the answering the mission call. I mean, this was what my whole life led up to. But I always ask the question back. What I don't understand is, why don't more people do this? It's the most incredible opportunity to get to go serve people, whether that's here in our backyard with childhood nutrition and hunger issues, or around the state or around the world. I can't think of anything I'd rather be doing. I mean, this is an incredible honor, and it's what people should do.
Thanks for that, Gary. And Rich and Mike, same question coming to you guys. Why is, especially being a great corporate citizen, being Portsmouth Small Business of the Year as well, just why is corporate responsibility so important and giving so important to you all?
It's just like Gary says. I mean, I couldn't think of anything better to do. If you guys recall, I mean, you guys were here in our grand opening. The Economic Development Department had a great role in our grand opening. We appreciate that. But if you recall that day, I said, we're not just in the community, we are a part of the community. And so it's not about just making dollars and cents here, but, you know, everybody wants to get paid for their service and all, but it's more about helping people. So we've actually had people, you guys move to Portsmouth. Most people move out of Portsmouth. And for us, it was a no-brainer. It's the place for us to be, and I love it. We helping folks is what we do. I'll let Rich talk to you about it. We got an event coming up next weekend that's actually part of Mercy Chefs and one of their partners. And so we're going to be doing that this weekend. It's just another part of what we do.
Well, my side of this is really simple. I grew up poor. I grew up one of 7 children with a mother who never let you know you was poor. I didn't know I didn't have anything because my mother provided everything. And I don't care how little it was, but you ate every day. And she worked really hard so that we became people who fed it forward. So when I got in a position where I could do something, I never wanted to be defined by just my job. This guy was in the military. I want people to say, hey, Rich is a good guy. He's got a great big heart. He would take care of people, give them the shirt off his back. You know, and that's how I look at things. I grew up as a boys club kid. I got involved in Special Olympics at 13 because I seen how hard these athletes work. things I did easy. They struggled, but they worked really hard to do it. And I'm like, man, if they can do that, how come I can't do something? I started doing polar plunge just because it raised money for Special Olympics. Now, I hate cold water. I came from Massachusetts. I got enough of the cold. But I knew what that cold water meant to Special Olympics and how much it would raise funds for them. So every year, me and my wife and my team and my business partner, we would be in that cold water. So it's just a part of doing more for people than you ever thought you could possibly do, because the payoff is so immense in their life. You may not have to struggle, but you don't know what the guy next to you is struggling with every day. So every Christmas, we have a Christmas party for our clients. And we have fun and we do things, but we always tie it to a purpose. And usually our purpose is Toys for Tots. But this year we thought about it and we said, people are struggling with food dependency. So I actually went to Mercy Chefs and talked to Kristen. And I said, Kristen, I want to do something for people to feed them. And we're going to do a food drive on the 19th of December, right at our drive-through, because this used to be a bank, so we got a drive-through. And we're going to hand all of our clients a Warrant Realty Small Business of the Year t-shirt, and we're going to collect from them a food product. Those food products are going to go to Oasis Social Ministry here in Portsmouth, because that's what we want to do. We want to help Oasis gain all the food products they're going to need to help feed the local community. You know, it's about giving to other people when you have the ability to make an impact. And that's who Mike and I are. And all of our agents feel exactly the same way, which is why we have such a great unit here.
That's so well said, and I appreciate that from both of you guys. I want to come back to you guys really quickly. Got a question from the chat. For corporate givers, what's the value prop you're looking for from a nonprofit looking to partner with you? I'll start with you guys, Mike and Rich, and then go to Gary.
I would say the value is really simple. Mike and I both grew up as Boys Club kids. So we like to donate to the Boys Club, and we put like 40 young boys through summer camp who couldn't afford to go to summer camp. And my belief is if I can help those 40 kids get through summer camp to have something to do over the summer, they'd be less likely to do things in the community that's not gonna help them.